Turn on, tune in, and do it fast. It's time for the Evercast. Are you ready to greet Ed, Rich, Crow, and Pete as they talk Evercade? Good times will never fade. Put away the switchblade, sheath the sword of Vienna. Stop the blaster master, there's no enemy below as we dip into euphoria. Turn on, tune in, and do it fast. It's time for the Evercast.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Evercade podcast. It's me, it's Pete, it's Crow, and who knows, Rich May Gandalf in. How's everybody doing?
Yo.
Well, that remains to be seen. It's still early today.
It's early for me. It's midday for you guys.
It's 10 a.m., so it's still mid-morning here.
Mid-morning, yeah, exactly. Well, which is okay. Oh. Happy Friday. Saturday? Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Yeah.
Wish we could go.
I hope it's Saturday because I didn't start working. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, so you guys.
Let's see. Who do we have? Some people in the chat. And got Genejoke, he was first. We got Rasta. Lloyd JRM. Yeah, I can say his name right. Jason Shears. Jan Ruff. Matthew Madison. Morley. Hey, Crypto Coffee. Happy Free Comic Book. Yeah, I saw that. Is that a real thing? It feels like a Friday.
Yeah, I heard of that. I just never it's a once a year, and I never really plan it or anything. Even though there is a comic shop I could probably go to.
Go there and be like, give me free comics.
Usually it's like a specific comic, I think, that each shop will give out for free. I mean, you don't get to choose.
Of course. I'll take the Superman #1, please.
Yeah, if they had that. Yeah. Oh, sorry, we're fresh out of stock on that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's probably like an Archie's comic or something. Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, it's a way to get them into the store. You have people into the store. And most people, I think, may actually look around and buy something else instead of just, walk in, get a free comic, and walk out.
Get a free what? Comic book?
Yeah, it's free comic book day. That's what we're talking about.
Oh shoot! There's a comic book store over at my one of my malls. I might go over there. Sorry, I was too busy flexing at soccer.
No, they didn't say it'd be a good comic. You just get a free one.
Well, I think it might just depend on what shop you're going to.
Yeah, it's like
Publishers creates free special. Okay,
yeah,
I got you.
It's the same thing as Hockey Card Day that happens every year. That they Upper Deck creates a special hockey card packs called Hockey Card Pack Day and gives them out at all the card shops. It's pretty cool.
Okay, I have not heard of that. So I almost want to think that might just be a Canada thing, or is that
no? It's in the U.S. In the northern states of the U.S. Hockey's pretty popular in the northern states.
Yeah, I agree with that. It just sounds like
Chicago,
Canada.
for frick's sake. It's really popular in Chicago.
Yeah, but it's still not as popular as football.
Yeah, I know.
No.
But yeah, you go to during hockey card. It just happened like last month. But a lot of stores go like snarky. They'll get a bunch of free ones in. You're supposed to give them out for free. And then a lot of them will give out some free ones. And then a day later, we'll sell the rest. Welcome to capitalism.
Good comic. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool, maybe. Actually, no, didn't in Full Void there was a comic.
Hey, isn't we getting the anniversary show soon? Isn't it this week?
Maybe.
May.
That's a good question.
Knowing them, it'll be May 31st at like 11 at night.
Yeah, it's always the last day of the month. If they say it's going to be May, it's going to be the last day in May.
Yeah.
It's going to be a second quarter. It's going to be the last day of the second quarter.
Exactly. Which is fine.
It is fine. So yeah, before we talk about other news, let's go over. I'll play with my polls here for a moment.
Don't play with your polls.
It's just kind weird that he has more than one.
Oh my god.
So kind of based upon, what Blaze is. And I was curious to poll everybody. 157 votes. Well, that'd be the most. I was just curious if people thought Blaze was doing the right thing by delaying the carts until the tariffs got sorted. And 51% people say yes.
Hey, what if they're not sorted for like another 3 years?
Oh, God. Oh,
I'd
God.
be okay with that. I got a lot of Evercade stuff to play, so I'm good.
Yeah, it's like it'll probably take me about 3 years to catch up anyway. So
Yeah.
15% said no, 10% said don't care, and then 24% said they were going to do ever delays anyways. I had to ask that. Yeah, it's like so, and I think so. Yes, there is a lot to play, but I don't know. I get bored of video games like very easily, and for things to hold my interest. So I'm always looking for the next thing, because I asked myself that question. Yes, there's like 500 games, but what do I want to go back and play?
probably want to go back and play Cathedral.
Yeah, that's a tough one, right? That's a tough one because like I think that may have been like, if not like one of the best games that like we'd ever seen on Evercade. It's such a great like indie game in every means, and then my save got corrupted. So I'm like, do I want to start all over again on a VS? Because there's no way, I don't think Blaze or any company could guarantee me that wouldn't happen again, and they haven't acknowledged that it's an issue. Or they blame, well, actually, no, I blame the publisher. Pretty much because they said, like, I was in the town and it was auto-saving, and you can't really tell when it's saved, whatever. So then, I don't know. That, I would think I'd have to start on Steam Deck. Just because, at least I know my save would be, in the cloud and whatnot. But yeah, that's a sore point. I'd love to finish it on Evercade. What if they said, no, you can back up your updates? I'd be like, oh, okay. But I don't see them doing that anytime soon. But I did
updates.
I'm sorry. What did I say back? That doesn't make any sense. If you could back up your game saves, good lord. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And I didn't even realize I said that. Yeah, if you could back up like your game saves or anything like that.
Well, I can.
True. I'm actually, Kat, have you tried that though with Procedure? Like, is it? I would imagine, like, what would be cool, like, if you could find the save and like copy that save over and play it like on Steam or vice versa.
You can't. I don't think you can play it on Steam. It's different. Like on the Evercade, the file format's it's like a Linux file format. So I don't know if that save would actually transfer over and be able to play that on Steam. It's a different version of the game, I think. I don't think it'll work. Again, I could be wrong. After that, like, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, maybe someday I'll go back and I keep saying I'll go back and play, but
You say that, but it's been like what, 2-3 years?
Yeah.
Yes, Gene. I was playing Berserk. Could you hear that?
Yeah, I heard intruder alert. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I just updated my Evercade.
Yeah, actually, I just did too. I was gonna wait till we talked about that, but yeah, it works though.
Yeah, I mean, their last couple of firmware updates have been really good, right? Like I can remember a lot of people bricking their consoles or having to hard resets, which kind of sucks.
Yes.
So Ed, we're going to talk about it. Ed, you got to read the patch notes, Ed.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
wait a minute, Pong Atari Arcade 1 improvements. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why they said that when they list. So yeah, so they removed Zool of the month. New highlights, Old Towers by Retro Souls. Yeah, Sword of Fargo 3 improvements. I wonder if they say the improvements.
I really don't like the highlight of the month system. I know why they're doing it, because they want to sell more carts, like a marketing thing. I just don't like it. It's so inferior to what we used to have.
Well, the good thing is you can just ignore it.
I do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't
Pong
know.
is
I don't.
better, but it's still Pong. But the thing was, it didn't work at all the way it was supposed to before. It was totally not emulating what Pong was actually supposed to be. So I'm curious if they've actually fixed it. So much so that I'm going to actually grab the card.
Yeah. And then, see, I don't know why they just didn't say mouse control for selected games, see notes below.
Mm-hmm.
And then the game description, so initial beta. So, yeah, we've got Z, Broken Sword 2, Future Wars. Yeah, from Delphine.
So
Operation Stealth. I'll tell you what's missing from here, though. Arcade Pool, Night Driver, Steeplechase, Diamonds and Demons. I'm not sure if this
Nice Street Racer. So the games that had paddle support, they actually converted to use mouse. So that's gonna. I'm wondering. I'm surprised they didn't say Pong in there because that would have really benefited. A bunch of Atari Arcade 1 games actually would use a dial that would work way better with a mouse.
You know, a game I wish they would have added. What would like that light gun game that was on the 7-8 that's on the Atari, that 7800 game. That could have been fun with a mouse.
Alien Brigade was it called?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's kind of missing. That would have been fun.
That wouldn't. You know why that won't work? Because actually maybe they did use a light gun. So I don't know what kind of. It's probably not so simple as to just add mouse support. The emulator they're using has to be able to convert the light gun to a mouse. So,
like a MAME.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what they're using for emulator, but
how much like? So what kind of mouse? Like, does any USB mouse work for it?
Here's the thing. I'm using this mouse, and I 3D printed this mouse, and it was working with Delphine Collection.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool, actually.
So
this says you plug your controller into port 1, and then you plug your mouse into any other port.
It's funny. I didn't even read those instructions, and I just so happened to do that, I guess.
Yeah, that's really cool that they're doing that. I mean, trying to figure out what it won't make me want to go back and play those games again, though. Maybe the picture one. I'll probably go for Broken Sword, maybe.
Oh, like I booted up Pong and it just didn't start right away, so that's a good start.
What I kind of wish they would have added like Centipede and those other like trackball games from Atari Arcade 1.
That may be something they can add in the future. Again, that it might just be down to the emulator they're using.
Right, maybe. The fact that they're doing stuff like this is kind of pretty cool, actually. They're actually trying to do this stuff.
Finally, right? Finally. I don't know why, though, it has to be beta support. That's kind of interesting. And why they can't just why don't they just enable the mouse to work, like in general? Then you can
beta just gives them an out if it doesn't work. That's usually why I do that.
There may be some testing involved in that. Yeah. And it could be the emulator they're using, and these just happen to use the same emulators, and it's just easy. Oh, Pong game actually ends at 11 points. So it actually starts when you want to start it. There's still 2 flaws, though. One, it's still in the wrong aspect ratio, and 2, the second player is still a computer controlled, and which is fine. But the real Pong didn't have a single player mode.
So does it work in the menus? Well, so it says
no. It doesn't. It doesn't work in the menu. It doesn't work in the menu.
No, you can just change the mouse speed and all that. Well, it's interesting. I mean, if I would think a lot of these emulators use RetroArch, and because
RetroArch is not the emulator; it's a front end. There's the cores are what the emulators are in RetroArch.
So right.
It comes down to the core.
It's running on Linux, though.
And I know for a fact that I don't know for a fact, because if you notice, if you run an Intellivision game on the Evercade, if you push pause, it actually brings up the pause menu from the emulator itself, which was like free INTV or something. So you can see that that's the emulator that they're using for that, because maybe they forgot to be able to disable that, but maybe they can't, because you need to be able to bring up the number pad somehow.
Like this hard word. But when they said a mouse update, I was So the other thing, and this is done, I think, intentional. My brain went to. I'm like, I bet they're not going to do keyboard support because kind of what you said, Crow. They don't want you to press a key sequence and get into like the sub menu and start doing
I think that's why there'll never be keyboard support.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, this is a neat start.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it will encourage me to go back and play any of those games again, but plus then it's just another thing I have to have with my Evercade, like a mouse. And does wireless mouse work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm using a wireless mouse.
Oh, okay.
And I think you wouldn't have to worry about it being portable because it only works with the VS and the Alpha. There's no way you could plug a mouse into the portable Evercade.
I could do whatever I want to do.
Okay, you could do it with an adapter. I'm sure it won't work though.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to do that. That makes no sense at all. Things I learned today. I can maximize this window to take my full screen of my monitor. I just did it because I couldn't read the text that Ed was showing.
I do want to try Arcade Pool, see if that makes a difference. I don't know if Demons and Diamonds needed it, but
I never.
Yeah, it does. It does need it because Demons of Diamond was a paddle game on the Atari 2600.
Yeah.
It's a much better game with the paddle, so it's going to be a better game.
Somebody needs to recreate the Gemini controller from the 2600. That was the best. It had the stick. And a paddle.
I do have something like that from Hyperkin. It was called I think it's called the Ranger controller. And actually, the way it is, it's okay. So that's paddle and regular controls all in one.
Yeah. Well, the paddle's kind of on the
it's on the side. Yeah,
on the side, right? So, yeah, that's a decent little controller. Like Hyperkin kind of sometimes hits hit or miss, mostly miss, but they did okay with that one. But yeah, that's the Gemini controller. That's why I always like when I was back in the day, I was like 2600 never had, but I had my Gemini clone console, and they had such a far superior controller than the 2600.
I still disagree with that. I've played with the Gemini controller, and
it's awesome because you don't have to unplug it and put a paddle in. You can just play.
Okay, but here's the thing: it's like with the regular paddle controllers, you could play 4-player because two paddles plugged into one.
You had 4 players to play with back in the day.
Yes, I did. We played Warlords 4-player.
Oh yeah, Warlords was pretty fun. Yeah, but you can still do that with the Gemini. You could have some extra paddles if you want it.
So Lord Arspec, this is what I want to test, and this is kind of what I'm afraid of. Like, yes, it has mouse support, but because it's a PS1 game, is that going to make a difference?
Yes, it could because mouse. Here, I'll show you something. Actually, I happen to have it right over here.
Like, did that game naturally have mouse support, or does it feel like a D-pad?
I'll tell you something. More games on the PlayStation have mouse support than you think. Look at that.
Yep. Yeah. They had the mouse, right?
Yeah.
More than the Super Nintendo game, that mouse.
Yeah. Arcade Pool, I could see that. I could see that playing a lot better.
I looked on Wikipedia because I'm selling this. I wanted to see how many games supported this, and there was a large list of PlayStation games that can use the mouse.
Did Broken Sword support it?
Yes, it did.
I think so, yeah.
There you go. I might try that. I might play Broken Sword with the mouse.
But for me though, that wasn't that added to the frustration, but maybe that takes away enough of it. I don't know.
See, I have no problem using a regular controller for a point-and-click adventure game as long as no quick actions are needed. And the problem with the ones on the Delphine collection is that there were points in time where you had to do stuff fast with the pointer.
Exactly.
And it didn't really work that well in those certain circumstances. In the case of Future Wars, there's one right at the very beginning of the game that I can see some people not even getting to the time travel part of that, like 10 minutes into the game, because of the clunky way you had to push the code into the number pad. All the while you're on a timer, because if you don't do it in time, you'll get smashed because the ceiling's coming in on you.
Fun. Well, in that, in some of the games, there was like some precision, like you had to click in the right spot to like pick up a thing.
Well, that's still not that big of a deal because as long as you're not on a time limit,
timer, yeah, you just take your time.
Then you've got all the time in the world to get it right.
True, but it's just more frustrating. But yeah, I'll have to see. Like, will it really improve? Will it really improve these games?
I was just playing a little bit of Future War right at the beginning of the game with the mouse. and it is so much better than using the controller. Just the fact that you can just right click to bring up the menu and then click and then do the thing you're supposed to do, how it was intended to be.
Right. But like Night Driver, Steeplechase, and Street Racer,
Those would work very well because those were all paddle games. And you could and using the mouse as a substitute, because it's analog, those games will control a lot better.
That's what I want to see because it's a very different feel from like a spinner than a mouse. At least
It is a different feel, but let me tell you something. It is better. The one game I used that PlayStation mouse on a lot was Tempest X3. The PlayStation didn't have a spinner controller, but using the mouse as a substitute was way better than just using even the analog controls on a regular gamepad.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fully. I wanted to try to test this earlier this week, but didn't get a chance. But I don't like why don't they tell, like, say what the improvements are? That's like they might as well have left it off of the release notes.
That's what I was curious about. Sword of Fargo improvements. Yeah, what was improved? Because I was able to play the game fine. With Pong, though, I could definitely see what they improved. They fixed it so you could actually play it. Still not perfect. Still not actually what Pong was back when it was released, but much better and playable than what it was before. They actually slowed it down too, so you could actually have time to hit the ball.
Yeah, so we know that. No, they should just put a note. Just go watch Crazy.
That's nice. The game description show if it supports mouse controls.
Yeah, I know. I just read that. And I said that's a great little tip, right? Like,
yeah.
So this hopefully we get more kind of potentially some RTS games. Maybe would be nice.
Oof. Well,
why not? It's got mouse controls. Imagine if we got like a Command and Conquer style game or a.
I'm still not a fan of real-time strategy games, even back when I had a computer.
Well, we got mouse now. I can't wait. Is my game I was playing last week? What was it called? Is that on the list?
What game were you playing last week?
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
How can I answer you if you don't even know?
No, I was playing it last week. It's kind of like the little RTS game. What the hell?
The Namco collection. Yeah, no, that's not
Namco.
Oh, probably not, because that game would have had to support mouse controls on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, which mouse had Super Nintendo?
It did, but I guess it depends on when the game was released and if they even bothered to support it.
I keep forgetting that game. It's Namco Collection 2, I believe.
Yes, I think.
No, Namco Collection 1.
Okay, then it's that one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if you really wanted to, like a Steam Deck, you could plug in a mouse,
Metal Marines,
and you could change the sensitivity to however you want because it's Linux. I kind of hope they do the same thing with this. Just let you plug in a mouse.
Well,
and use
it's not because it's Linux. It's because the emulator supports the ability to change the sensitivity. Because you could play these games on MAME and still be able to control the sensitivity of analog controls in every game that had analog controls.
It depends if Blaze allows it, because like on a Steam Deck, you can map any button to anything, right? Because they allow it. It doesn't matter if an emulator or game doesn't support it. It's because the OS allows it. So they could do it, but it would require, I guess, more effort. You know what I mean? Maybe not.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, like, if the game is being emulated, odds are you're going to have control over that anyway.
Oh yeah, it's much easier if it has native support. Yeah, all they have to do is like just flick a switch, which is why it's in beta, I'm guessing.
Cannon Fodder on the SNES had mouse support.
I didn't even know that game was on the SNES.
Yeah, it's on the Codemasters collection.
But it's not the Super Nintendo version.
Isn't it?
I thought it was the Genesis version.
Oh. Yeah, thank you. That's kind of my thing. It only took us 5 years to give us. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
better.
To be honest, though, we didn't really need mouse support to begin with. It wasn't until we started getting computer collections that we really should have had mouse support.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to use the mouse now with these Atari 2600 games that have paddle controls.
Yeah, my whole thing with it is that
Having
once they
technical
added
difficulties.
third-party controller support, there wasn't a reason really like not to.
The good news, the fact that people say it's only took them 5 years, but the Glass's half full point of view is that tells us that they're still doing all these little quality of life features 5 years in. So they got they plan to be sticking with the system for a while, right?
Okay, here's somebody who said Worms with mouse support. I don't know if the PlayStation version of Worms supported mouse, but the problem is like with the mouse support with Worms, I kind of would want keyboard support too. Because you can't just play Worms with just a mouse.
Yeah. So
they could add
your Worms Director's Cut. Yeah, that. But again, you'd probably need keyboard support as well.
So Yargo, again, another reason why I really don't like and often despise Super Pockets, because if it was a cart, we could play Operation Wolf with a mouse, since that would be through MAME. I was wondering if anyone was going to say that. So,
we don't know for sure if they're using MAME to emulate these arcade games.
I think they've said that. I mean,
have they said that they're using MAME?
I don't remember.
I mean, that's not. Yeah, and for commercial software, that's like the best option. I mean, MAME is like some support.
I'm sure they're doing. Yeah, I don't think they would do anything themselves. Like, I think they would.
No, but I'm just saying that there's more emulators out there than just MAME.
Sure, yeah.
So, because iHeart keeps bugging the shit out of me, again, you had to be there live to watch it. It's in the hearts and minds and memory of people that were there watching the stream live. So if you missed it, you missed it. I'm sorry. Sorry. You kept bugging me.
I went to look up something and I forgot.
Oh, my bad. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, way to go, iHeart Retro. You pissed off Ed.
No, I just like.
Well, you made him more angry than normally he is.
I tried to be subtle, but to be fair, he may not have been in the parts of the stream when I had said that. But
yeah, good. Worms does on the PlayStation does not support the mouse.
Oh, that's what she said, by the way. Sorry.
No one ever said that.
Funny, Jason. So yeah, good stuff. At least we're getting it. They're working on it. But that I would expect that though from like a product where you're paying money that they would.
You know what this means? More PC collections.
Ooh.
More PC collections this year.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe there's something coming out that absolutely
all blue
needs a mouse.
all the time.
But again, it's if you're using the handheld primarily, you're not going to be able to benefit from those additions.
Yeah, I think it's an added value, not the main value of the Super Pocket.
Yeah,
and,
I don't think it necessarily means that we're going to get more computer collections.
No, I'm just trying to piss that off.
I know what you're doing, but
it's all blue all the time.
Yeah. You know, so what's funny about that is like, as far as like for like what I would do with that on my channel, I would love that because it'd be fun. But I think, like, as far as for Evercade, I think that would be like a death sentence. I don't think that would be. I'd
want to see more C64, but only if we could get Accolade or Electronic Arts games.
Yeah. No, we haven't gotten the next pre-order yet. What I did hear is that if you ordered from Songbird, that they were honoring all their orders. I haven't heard if because I'm curious, Crow, since you ordered from Video Games Plus, if they're still going to honor that or not.
I don't think I've heard anything about that. Is that the next collection, the one that I was able to order and then they took down?
Yes, your favorite name, the Windjammers and Friends, and then the Gremlin 2. But
it reminds me I need to go back and rename all of the previous collections to be something and Friends.
Yep. Homebrew Heroes. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I feel like it's still like Blaze needs to tap more into the indies, to like the indie game market, aftermarket, still tap more into those games. Like I really want to see more. Oh my god. More blue carts, more blue poles. I think you want to see my blue pole. I'm blue, bubba dee, bubba die, of course. Pete morphed into an Atari controller. Yes, he did. He definitely did. Oh, MSX, yeah, Konami. Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm hoping. There's Rich.
No, there's Rich's steering wheel.
Oh, no wonder we could see him for, like, why isn't he getting in here?
There we go. We can hear him.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a speedometer.
Yes.
You feel like you're a speedometer. Yeah.
Feels like
Come on,
on the other side of a Cops episode.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Let's hope not.
Where are you headed off to, Rich?
Headed to Oaks, PA, which is a place I'll be in the end of June. But for today, I'm actually taking my oldest to a Taekwondo tournament so we can see what it's like, since he just received his orange belt on Wednesday.
Cool.
So yeah, it's very cool.
Nice.
So yeah, so we're off on the way. Figure I'd stop by and say hi.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
Well, it's funny.
You said
It's funny. He said he was on his way there, but then he wouldn't be able to get there till June.
Oh no. Well, it's
a long drive.
I will be there again in June.
I know.
Or-
I got what you're
or-
saying, but the way you worded it was kind of funny.
It did, yeah.
He said,
Glad I'm not the only one that thought that.
So-
No, we were just talking about like mouse support being added for Evercade VS and all that. And
Yeah, man. I'm all about it.
have you gotten the chance to test it yet?
No, not yet. But now I really want to find out. Like, I need to get one of those spinner things because somebody was showing their like handmade spinner controller for.
yeah, actually, I
Diamonds
think
to
that would work.
Diamonds. Someone put a video out, running the new firmware with a spinner controller playing Demons to Diamonds on the spinner.
You know
was like-
something. I have something.
That's what I was just gonna say. I bet Crow
I
has
said,
these.
try this. I have a like Atari 2600 controller to USB adapter. It
Oh,
does
no way.
support paddle controller. So I'm wondering now if I could use this.
Yeah.
Well, if you test that and
I gotta go get the collection.
one of those, and I'm ordering one today.
I
I will order one today.
I also
Only-
need to get a USB-B to a connector for that.
Yeah, I'm very curious if that works. That would be pretty cool. Like, did that open the door for
That'd
an
be rad.
official like for trackball support? Yes, it would be. But then the only
Yeah.
sad thing is we won't be able to use it with Centipede yet.
Yeah.
He's getting the collections ready. He's gonna have like an adapter that plugs in like this long.
Yeah.
I bet that adapter is
Other
pretty
news
inexpensive
this week with those old Blaze guys.
What was it? What,
Did you
What
guys
was
talk
that?
about the distribution deal with Blacksun today?
is that official?
Did you guys talk about the distribution deal with Blacksun? Yeah.
No, what
Blaze's,
distribution deal?
So Blaze put out a press release on Thursday, I want to say it was,
What?
where they got into an agreement with Plaxion, or a deeper agreement with the distribution company Plaxion, where the wording doesn't necessarily mean anything to us in U.S. and Canada, unless it does, and they just didn't mention it in the press release. But they very specifically said it means a wider distribution in Europe and New Zealand and like other territories. It has the same blanket quotes, one from Andrew saying, "Hey, we look forward to growing our relationship with Plaxion guy saying Blaze is awesome," and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's not on evercade.co.uk.
Okay.
Blaze's website. So it's blazeretro.com, and then you go to the news tab and it's right there.
Okay. I was gonna say it's Blaze.
Yeah, I
like,
was gonna do. Yeah.
Blaze being Blaze, not
So, because
not
that also
announcing
affects
something
Hyper.
else.
Well, no, it's not, because it's not Evercade, it's Blaze. Because remember, Blaze is the company that oversees the manufacturing of the brand Evercade and the brand Hyper Megatech, right? So like that is very specifically a deal between those two.
Huh.
But it's
That
for
is so
both.
weird.
It's for both branches of the business, and it's a very business-related press release. So I understand why they wouldn't put it on Evercade.co.uk. Lest
I didn't
they
even know
also
that.
put the same press release on Hyper Megatech, but whatever. So, but yeah. So other cool
That
things
is
to
so.
check out.
That is so. And before we like this website, just like I don't know. This seems very redundant, but
Well, it's because like I guess as an entity, like Blaze Entertainment has to be like, hey, look, we're Blaze. We own this stuff over here and this stuff over here.
our brands.
Here's
Like,
our
this is for
brands,
marketing.
and then the brands have their own websites and all that fun stuff.
And then if you go down here, very much at the bottom is where. Oh, they made it was a LinkedIn announcement. That is so weird. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's like. They talk about Evercade Alpha. I don't know. That's again, this just amazes me. Like, why did that Blaze does stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what none of us heard about it because they didn't post it in their Discord announcements or on anything else.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing it up, man. Because
I
Yeah,
know,
no
man.
worries.
Rich knows everything. Rich knows everything.
I mean, not everything, but I keep my nose to the grindstone. That's for sure.
That's how I
Always
found out about
sniffing out
bases
news.
loaded. The bases loaded stuff.
Yeah. Dude,
I'm excited.
They're pumping out collections, man.
Yeah, I love the RBI. RBI baseball is my favorite on this NES, but bases loaded is a very close second.
Yeah,
You
and
guys
they're
talking
getting
about
bigger. Those collections are getting bigger now. So little shots fired action.
Oh yeah, I mean they're direct competition now with Evercade. I think in a lot of ways. If they ever put that PC app out, right? They need it. They need Evercade's. I shouldn't say direct competition, because the direct competition would mean there would be hardware for everybody to buy that's affordable, which they don't have.
Right.
They put a PC app out, but then that's not really good either.
Right.
See, here's the thing: if they make that add-on, if you could use it like with the Steam Deck, I would be happy about that. But if I'm going to plug that like into a PC, then I kind of feel like even though those
I
are
think
official,
they said they're going to have they'll have an app for that, but I don't know if it'll work. Yeah, it makes sense. You might be able to do it on Linux though, Ed.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Though. Like if I'm going to plug that in my Windows PC, then I kind of feel like I'd rather just load ROM. You know what I mean? Like I want to.
Yeah. Again, it's just for the collector owning it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, they got to find a way to drop their price on the main unit. So
And
expensive.
make the availability.
I think they're going to try to pivot. To be honest, I think they're going to try to pivot. I think they're going to release Remix, and then they're going to try to push to people to just use the Remix on their own computers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, because you still need another component, right? To be like.
Yeah, I mean, unless you buy the the base unit, you would need Remix and a computer. But anyway,
I love the idea of the official collections, and I love how they're curating them. I just wish it was on a cheaper.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean,
like instead of making, I'd almost wish that they would just make a smaller CD-only unit that could never use any modules, and even if it could only play like their collections, something like that.
That would be kind of cool. Maybe they would consider that. Maybe, but
yeah.
But the next thing though, did you guys talk about like old VSs showing up on Funstock?
Yeah, no, we didn't talk about it. I had heard that.
It's kind of interesting. They'll throw a VS and a controller in a box and ship it to you with no games. I don't know what the price is though.
Oh, it was $69, like British pound. It was like $60. Yeah, it was like when I calculated, it was $80. It was $80 USD, and then plus shipping, it'd probably be $100.
I mean, I guess that makes sort of sense, but if you find a reseller in the U.S., you probably pick a VS starter pack up for almost that.
Yeah.
But it's cool that not that the R is any different, but
I wouldn't know. I don't have one.
yeah.
Now for like
Yeah.
$50 shipped USD, I would be interested. But
Yeah.
Yeah, but you already have a VS though. Why would you want another one?
Hi, can I have my
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo, please?
to maybe put
Right.
like in the living room for occasionally when I want to play in the living room.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, if you want a different one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be paying a convenience fee. Like I don't care about collecting another. I don't care from a collectability standpoint.
Oh yeah, which is cool. Like I said, I always had two switches. One in the living room that was a family one for them to mess up, and mine, and we just go back and forth. And now with the game share on the Switch, it's going to be awesome.
Mm.
Only got to buy one copy of the game now. For select games, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they're going to do that with Mario Kart.
Well, Mario Kart is Switch 2 specific, but Mario Kart 8 will work, which is cool.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Only have handhelds. Yeah, no. I guess the other important thing I'm glad about this update is that Blaze isn't. I think there was a fear that they were afraid to like alienate like a certain market of customers who do things for the VS only, and I'm glad. I'm glad that they're because I think it is just an add more value because technically you can still play them on even the Super Pocket if you really wanted to. But that's right, Crow's still hooking up and mapping.
No, I'm testing it out. It doesn't quite work right. I can move the paddle, but I don't have really any precise control over it at all.
That's a bummer.
So, I mean, it's probably that this adapter doesn't really convert it to like a mouse controller. It just
got it. Yeah, I'll have to find.
I could see like a spinner meant for like arcade games working like with a USB adapter.
Yeah. I'll have to find out what that guy's using. I mean, it definitely looks like a DIY kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, you could buy those on Amazon. I've seen those spinner controls on Amazon that you could just plug right into a computer. You might just have to put it into your own box or something. But now
and I wonder how the development works too.
Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah.
But we're talking about
there's one that you can 3D print.
Oh yeah, like a box for it. Yeah, actually.
Yeah. But I would want to augment it because it's they just literally printed a box, and I'm like, no, I'd want more like that has like more rounded, like a rounded box so it would fit in your hand better. So
and you don't want it to hurt yourself.
I would remix
I 3D printed this.
Oh yeah, that's
there
pretty
you
cool.
go.
That's definitely a good time.
But yeah, someone brought up earlier. Rich, what do you think they're going to announce? The cart that goes with the Neo Geo at the end of this month, or do you think they're going to push off that announcement?
Well, I mean, because they pushed the date of the next pre-order or whatever for Neo Geo, then they're going to push that Well, they might not push the announcement, but the pre-order date is still going to be that late July, whatever it is, for for the Neo Geo cart. Whatever the cart they announce is going to be that too. Because they might have a agreement with the publisher, they might have to announce that cart earlier than they would like to anyway. So maybe end May, we're going to get that announcement anyway. But if we wanted to talk about that, I can put my tinfoil hat on.
Go for it. RGB says they may announce an announcement.
Yeah, that'll be so classic if they do that, right?
They announced an announcement.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, feel free to put your tinfoil hat on.
So tinfoil hat's on now. I think they are either head faking with the newest that is the highlight of the month, or they're showing hand, because it's a two step to get there, but the highlight of the month this month is a Mega Cat game, and if you go one more step, there was a Mega Cat game tied with Xenocrisis, because Tanglewood is a Mega Cat game.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So you're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Terminator.
I see where you're going.
Mm.
But that doesn't
That's
come
a bit
out
of a
until the end of
stretch.
the year.
I
Still
think
a
it's a stretch. It's a stretch.
It's a stretch, but you can
Yeah.
get there. I can get there anyway. But
Yeah,
but I think realistically though, we haven't heard from Mega Cat in a while, and they've been pumping out games. So a Mega Cat 3 is not out of the question.
I'd welcome that. We haven't had any in a long time.
You know, and like I said, they got a ton of games. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if the cart that's paired with Neo Geo is a Mega Cat. So, but then because then that would actually complete the pattern where they are announcing, you know, like, or highlighting a game that they're about to announce with something else that's related to that, either the publisher or the property. So,
Oh, Mega
we'll
Cat
see.
did say collect 3 is possible. That's cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Either way, that's a win. But yeah, that's kind of fun to go from here to there to.
Well, I went as soon as I saw the release. I was like, wait, all right, let me go to the Mega Cat's website, and then I'm scrolling down their IP list, and Tanglewood was right there, and I was like, oh, hello. But you know, like I said, that's a little bit more of a stretch, but they also, why would you announce it now? Because it's not going to come out in July, because the game doesn't release on anything else until November, so you
Yeah.
have to hold that.
I wonder, do you think we're still getting 15 carts this year, or is that going to be pushed into next year?
I think we still can. Because they said nothing else other than that delay and push with the 1 month. Nothing else is affecting their 2025 plans. So, you know, and I think it's also possible that even though it didn't say it in the press release, I think that the North American territories are going to wind up benefiting from whatever this relationship is, and they're just trying to iron out the details as to what the deal is going to be. However, there might be a little bit of a sour part of this if there's like remaining tariffs or anything like that, because I could see the distributor pushing back on Blaze when they start, you know, like releasing the rest of their carts, if there's still like tariffs in play and all that kind of stuff, imposing duty on each order coming out of Funstock. So, you know, I can, you know, I can then see them going, hey, well, blanket, we've calculated the cost of these tariffs, so moving forward, when you order your when you order your regular cart, maybe it's not $24.99, maybe it's $29, and maybe the Giga carts are $34. Moving forward, just for the United States territory, because of the tariffs, and I think maybe that's what they do. You know, if they get backed up against the wall.
Yeah.
So,
But like right now, the tariffs are only like 10%. So like if that's still the case, then it's like,
yeah,
why are you?
But you still, I mean, I know it's not 10% if you do the math that way, but I think still with logistics and some other things that they're going to have to wind up doing or whatever, you know, I think maybe that's a thing that they'll do. I mean, or, you know, maybe they just raise it $2 and whatever it is, you know, like
Exactly.
You know, like the $3 whatever, the extra 10% is just going to be added to the cost, and you're like, okay, you know, and at that point for me, if that's actually a thing that happens, I'd be like, okay, whatever. You know, I'll, you know, until the deal subsides, and then maybe they say like, hey, the tariffs go away, or you know, go to zero, or to our benefit, we'll adjust the price accordingly, and then U.S.
They
customers will
won't, though.
benefit from whatever it is.
That's the problem.
So-
Prices will go back down.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I mean, but in this scenario, because it's like levers being pulled out of their control, if the levers go back the other way, they shouldn't cash grab. They should just reduce the price. They should
That would
say
be great.
they should say so, but I mean, you're right. I mean, speaking cynically, maybe that's a wishful thinking kind of proposition.
No,
But, you know,
no, they won't go back down. That's what history has shown. It's
Yeah.
like with the Illinois tollways. It's like, oh yeah, we're only going to have the tollways up until the roads are paid for.
Yeah, prices
it's like-
never go down.
Yeah, and then what do? They upgrade them so they can charge you and you don't even have to stop. You know.
right.
Yeah. I mean, really, you could argue that Blaze is they've already raised the cost of the carts by $5. So I think that if it is a few bucks or whatnot, I think they should eat that cost because they picked. I mean, they picked a really bad time to do that. Like if they were going to raise their prices, they should have done that a while ago.
Well,
We'll
I
see.
mean, but the other thing is maybe you don't know like the screws that are being pushed to them on the production side. You know what I mean? They mentioned in that first release where they were saying that they were raising the price of the carts, that they did so because the manufacturing deals aren't as beneficial as they used to be. So they got to keep solvent too. You know, I understand that. It's playing devil's advocate on that one, but
Yeah.
But so if production costs go up, I mean, obviously somebody's got to pay for it, and it's going to be the consumer. But at this point, I think it's very likely that the quote unquote good outcome, if this stuff lasts long, is going to be we're going to wind up paying extra in the United States territories. That's just going to be the bottom line. And then for hardware, it's going to be a little more painful because if they put out a $200 piece of hardware, it's an extra $20. So but I mean, again, it's one of those things for me. I'm already in. I'm a collector. I mean, it is what it is for me. I'm just like, okay, well, I pay the extra $1.
Mhm.
And still,
100% okay.
to me, as a U.S. customer, on the flip side of Polymega, they're still cheaper than a Polymega collection. So I'm like, all right, well, at least they're still cheaper than that. So
I think about this often. How long do you think Evercade will be around before they call it a day?
I don't know.
Well, here's
I
the
think
thing.
they're-
It's
I
like
think
even
they're
if they
proven.
what's to stop anybody from, even if Evercade calls it today, we're not doing any, or Blaze, we're not doing any more Evercade stuff. The hardware still exists. What are the odds
Yeah.
people are going to be like, oh, let's make our own cartridges then? They're not going to be
Yeah.
uploading the firmware to stop us.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and if there is some way of making that work or whatever, or they open it up because maybe they do like we're out. Here's a firmware. We're going to open up the device. Do whatever you want. Because if they're leaving, then why would they care?
Well, I don't even think they need to open up the device because, look at almost anything, any old console. People are making games for them. Atari 2600, Atari 7800, NES games. They're still being made.
Yep. That's right. Yeah. So.
But then I guess you could go ahead and you could update it to like the third-party software that's open, or I don't know. Would Blaze just like release their source code for their firmware and be like, have at it?
Yeah, I mean, either that or someone's going to reverse engineer it.
Either that, or a part of me kind of thinks, okay, there's no new Evercade games. Depending on which way the market goes, hang on to that stuff, and then a complete collection might actually be like really valuable to sell if somebody was interested in buying the whole thing.
Again, it might not be. You never know. There might not be that much of a demand for it. It really depends on what the demand is. Like an old NES game that's rare is worth a lot of money because there are a lot of NES collectors out there. But 20 years in the future, is anybody really going to be looking for Atari Collection 1 for the Evercade? I mean, all those games, or would you rather have those games on the Atari, itself, the original cartridges?
Right.
It all depends, I guess, it's hard to.
It depends.
Yeah.
Which even then, the Atari cartridges aren't even worth a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of more talking about the fact that like people now want Evercade because you can no longer buy it. Because it creates that demand because people just can't get it if there's like a limited window where there's like a boom.
But there are plenty of older consoles out there that haven't been made for a long time, and yet they're still really cheap. Atari Lynx games, for example. Atari Lynx games are still really cheap, even though they haven't made any in like 30-some odd years.
It's just the Lynx itself that's like ridiculous.
And who's to say that the Evercade itself isn't ridiculous?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's ridiculous in the cost. It's like, at least like $500.
No, they're not.
Oh, for a Lynx? No way.
Yeah. I'm talking about like $100 at most for a Lynx.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Atari Lynx?
Maybe
Chris-
of eBay, like one with issues, but I know like in retro stores, if you see one in the wild,
Yeah, Atari Lynx. It's a little bit
Yeah.
more expensive than that.
Chris,
you can't get one for $100 that's like perfectly working without issues.
yeah,
Show me.
Chris, the Atari Creep, he bought a Lynx 2 years ago, and it's not really that much in difference, but I think he paid like 140 for his. So
Yeah, I don't know
That's
actually
terrible.
how much they're worth, to be honest with you.
They're like Jaguar or anything. I
Yeah,
was looking
Jaguars
at
are those are a little more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I'm kind of saying, though. Like with Evercade, it could be something that like you have to kind of say, like, could it be something that disappears and nobody cares about, or could it be? Here's the thing, right? And I'm telling you this: all it takes a little bit of time to pass. MJR makes a video and says, "Hey, remember this cool device that was an Evercade?" People, it's kind of like out there. People kind of remember, and they're like, "Oh my god, I want to buy the thing that's not made anymore." You know, and that hype might only be there for a short time.
Yeah.
Well, it depends how big the audience is for Evercade for that nostalgia to kick in 10 years from now, right?
Yep.
Like that's how nostalgia works.
10 years, I don't know. I kind of talking like the immediate, you know, kind of like the immediate boom of things. Was it popular enough that there's interest? That there's interest in it because you can't get. And it's just kind of, you know, it's just kind of like a FOMO, how people just, you know, they look like at the next like fad and whatnot. Like Analog Pocket was hot like for a while, and I think now it's kind of died down, and I don't really see people making videos.
That's interesting. Price of Link stuff has gone up since I last checked. Maybe I'll actually sell
Yeah,
them.
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, describe the ridiculousness. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the ridiculous. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You'll find people that like they didn't hear about Evercade. They kind of like stuff like that can happen. Or I think with Blaze, I think as long as they're profitable, I think they'll still do it unless they, you know. But then again, you have to ask yourself, like in the past, like how there were like MMOs that were making money and they just kind of like shut down because companies wanted to move on to the next thing. I mean, it could be something simple where like they've made all their money. Or actually, okay, here's the question. Do you hope that if that did happen, do you want Blaze to shut down, or do you want them to be bought out by somebody like EA or another greedy company where then Evercade just turns into like a limited run games and becomes completely ruined? Like, I'd rather see it just cease to exist and have some other company buy it and ruin it. If that was the case.
I don't know.
That would be. I don't think
we'll buy it.
Right? Yeah, definitely Lynxes have gone up, and it's not only that, but it's kind of like we're at the point now with such aging hardware. If you get one of those, you may have to fix it up. You may have to recap stuff, and if you have the skills, that's awesome.
Mine works fine.
I mean, yours, but they're saying like you have to remember them, like especially like in America, people don't really take good care of their stuff, and things are like in pretty poor condition. That's why like incomplete box stuff is worth so much money here. Because
I got a good one for you. I've been selling my stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and the one guy, he was like, he wanted to buy like the PlayStation 4 games, but he wanted me to sell him as like I'm telling him like these games are in the cases and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I want this much for this one. He's like, how much for just the disc? He's like, I'm not selling you the disc without the case.
Yeah, you'd never be able to get wild.
What am I supposed to do with the case then? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's funny. Nobody ever just wants the disc.
No, this guy did. He's like, I don't care about the case. I just want the disc. Like, tell you what, I was like, I'm not going to change the price. It's like, tell you what, you take this home, you can throw it away. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Right.
Did he end up buying them, or did he just?
I don't think he did buy stuff. Like, but I sold him like the PlayStation 4 in the box. Now, for all I know, he went home, took it out of the box, and threw the box away. You know, so.
Right.
Oh,
Well, you
just
can do
didn't
whatever
care.
you want with it.
That's
What?
a hilarious reference. How much for just one rib? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Oh
gonna
my
get you,
God.
sucker.
Oh my god! Wow!
Exactly. That's what this guy was like.
Ribs. Now I want ribs.
It's pretty good.
Ribs.
Ribs.
How, like, percentage-wise, how close are you to your goal of like selling all that stuff?
Well, I kind of stopped working on it for a while, so I got to get back into it, which means I'm not really playing the Evercade stuff anymore. Like, I haven't played any Evercade for like 3 weeks. I'm like 3/4 of the way there, but in terms of the stuff that I'm trying to sell, I'm still like I'm only like halfway through it.
Okay, halfway.
Maybe not even that. Because again, my wife didn't want to sell any of her Nintendo 64 stuff, and then all of a sudden she's like, "Huh." It's like, maybe I do want to sell that stuff. She's like every Nintendo 64 color variant. So she's like, I want to sell them all except for these two. Okay.
They're worth a lot. And now's the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that's worth the most though is the one she didn't want to sell. She's got the gold Nintendo 64 complete in box, the Toys R Us exclusive one.
Oh my god, that's worth a small fortune, dude.
Yeah, I think it's around $2,000.
Oh my god.
It's complete in box.
That's pretty crazy.
That's wild.
But yeah, it's like, and they got that one for a steal at like a play-in trade, and even talked them down from the price because they were like, oh, it shows them the box is supposed to come with 2 controllers, and they opened the box up and only had 1 controller in it, so they talked them down even more. And when they got it home, I opened it up, and I'm like, the second controller is on the opposite side of the styrofoam foam.
That's crazy.
That's freaking hilarious. They didn't even. No, I'm just curious. Like, I'm excited to see when you make the video. Like, hey, here's what I did. Here's the cool thing I got with some of the money or all the money or whatever. I don't know.
You know what's funny? Does Crow's wife have a single sister? Yes, but trust me, you don't want to get any. You don't want to know her. You want to stay far away from her as possible.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Everybody's laughing. All right. So yeah, we're at the hour mark. Anything else, or is it time to do closing final thoughts or whatever the hell we call this? Final thoughts. Let's get closing statements. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, final thoughts doesn't make any sense because it's not like I'm going to die after this is over. You know?
We hope not.
There will be more thoughts.
There will be more thoughts.
There's always more thoughts.
Yeah. Well, Rich always called it final thoughts, so that's why.
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
You do.
Okay, I'll go first. All right. Yeah, just playing games on the channel. I am doing a birthday stream because my birthday's coming up next week, so I'll be doing a birthday stream tomorrow because, yeah, it just makes sense to do it tomorrow as opposed to a random Tuesday night. So I'll be streaming Polymega, Evercade, and whatever else, and just chatting. So that's going to be happening on the channel.
Nice,
Awesome.
man. Well, happy early.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Happy early birthday.
Then for me, I've got lots of catch up to do. We've got all sorts of different Polymega collections to do actual Fun for Fives on. So that starts with Ernest this week, and then apparently within a week and a half we'll get more collections because they just announced 9 and 10. So that'll be a thing. There's 2 or 3 VCS games that came out in the last week and a half that I got to go check out as well. And then I'm working on something that is Evercade related that will be in the background for nearly all the month of May, but we'll put out some Evercade related stuff, obviously, before then. But then a giant thing will happen in June. So I'm working on that. Awesome. So that's pretty much it for us.
Cool.
So I've got to actually get playing on some more Zaccaria pinball tables. There's at least 2 more every 2 weeks, and I found out why. and it's because they didn't put out anything in 2024, and it's because they were under contract with they were putting out tables. I think it was the At Games Legends. I think their contract stated they couldn't work on anything else that year, so that's why they weren't releasing anything last year. But I think they secretly were, because how else are they releasing like 2 new tables every 2 weeks in 2025? So so I have to get on that. But also, I got contacted by a couple people working on this game on Steam called Pinball Breeze. So I got a code for that. I got to play that. It might be a while before I get to that, but I would recommend checking it out if you're on Steam. It's a pretty interesting pinball game. Kind of part pinball construction, and it's not like a regular pinball game. It's like crazy pinball, but like also there's elements of pinball construction in it. It's kind of weird, so and it's pretty interesting. So I played a little bit this morning, and I got to get back to playing that too. So it's going to be a while before I get back to Tomb Raider, I think.
Cool. And Christoph, I'll go Immortal. Thank you so much for gifting the membership. And it looks like Lord Arseback went ahead and got it. And actually, just in time, because this weekend, I'm going to record the monthly member video of Weirdness. I have no idea what that's going to be. Actually, I have a few ideas. I might be streaming later today, or maybe tomorrow because of family stuff. And then I think next week's video I may have to dive into the mouse support and actually test those games. I'm really curious. So,
yeah, now you can't complain about the point-and-click adventures anymore.
Oh, I can still complain.
Yeah, but now you have to come up with new complaints. You can't use the same old excuse.
Well, yeah, I'll say, hey, we have mouse support, but like I've kind of talked about, like a broken sword is a wall of text. It's kind of like a wall of text of unlikable characters that I've really tried. Anyways.
Jeez, I hope they don't ever bring out text-based adventure games on the Evercade for you.
That I would like. No, but like I forget someone's video, and there was like some footage of Monkey Island, and I kind of remembered how there was like a charm.
I'm not talking about Monkey Island. I'm talking about games that are just text, and you
no.
Like you have just
no, but when you're saying like point and click, and like the characters were charming, and this one it just seems like with some of the some of the characters aren't charming, and it doesn't seem as culturally appropriate. So it's kind of and then there's wall of text, and there's a lot of things that are just like kind of. But no, actually, text is kind of fun. It'd be kind of fun.
Well, if the game doesn't take place in America, I would expect it not to be like America.
That's really, no, that's not really what I more mean or not. But I guess we can go ahead and end it here.
Cool beans.
Yep. Yeah, Rich, thanks for joining us from driving.
Yeah, no worries. Yep.
Well, everyone, we'll talk to you later. Thanks, Crashline, Immortal Sojourn, Amber Cummings, Joe Whitlush, Alex Groot.